If you average out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television.
Sunny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and you it was totally baked and half baked and you went on stage with it and it's nothing
just
there.
Go for it. Yeah,
there's nothing there.
I mean, you're married. Tom, you're married. If your husband's doing something, if he's allegedly doing something like this, you guys would know if your wives were up to some nefarious stuff. But let's just not forget who she is. She's been, for years, lecturing America about morality, inequality, systemic failures. And look at her track record. How many times does she have to go on in the past 2 months and look at the camera and do a legal apology for all this stuff?
Sunny Hostin has been grabbing attention lately, but this time it's not for her bold opinions on The View. Instead, it's about her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Hostin, and the news surrounding him isn't exactly flattering. Dr. Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and the owner of Host Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, finds himself entangled in a whirlwind of legal troubles. The accusations? Insurance fraud, kickbacks, and a massive RICO, racketeer-influenced and corrupt organizations lawsuit involving a staggering 180 defendants. This isn't just a regular court case. It's a legal bombshell with all the makings of a blockbuster. Drama. The RICO Act was initially designed to tackle organized crime, think mob bosses and underground gangs. But here's the twist. The defendants in this case aren't gangsters. Instead, the spotlight is on doctors, surgeons, and medical practices. Imagine a courtroom drama that's less about criminal kingpins and more like a crossover of Grey's Anatomy and The Wolf of Wall Street. But instead of emotional surgeries or shady stock deals, we're talking about medical fraud on a jaw-dropping scale.
I agree with mostly everything that's been said. I mean, we know that, only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
The lawsuit alleges that Dr. Hostin, along with others, orchestrated a scheme to exploit the healthcare system. They're accused of accepting kickbacks for performing unnecessary surgeries and billing insurance companies for procedures that may never have been done. Just picture it. Patients undergoing surgeries they didn't need, insurers footing the bill, and money flowing behind the scenes as if it were a high-stakes poker game played in hospital corridors. Here's where it gets even more shocking. The A. Lawsuit claims Dr. Hostin received financial incentives for recommending or performing arthroscopic surgeries. These minimally invasive joint surgeries are often viewed as routine and low risk.
I want a citizen that has a policy. I mean, I'm not saying that Joe Rogan should be removed from Spotify. He's got 11 million listeners. He's got $100 million, contract as of 2020. But I do think as the podcast platform, you have to have some sort of guidelines. How about a disclaimer on his podcast that says, this is misinformation? How about removing some of the podcasts that disseminate this misinformation?
They have.
And that's
However, the allegations suggest that many of these procedures weren't medically necessary at all. Were patients genuinely in need of knee or shoulder surgeries, or were they simply being used as pawns in a profit-driven scheme? If these claims hold up, this could be one of the most significant medical betrayals we've ever seen, eclipsing even the most outrageous soap opera plotlines. Think about it. When you visit a doctor, you trust them to prioritize your well-being. Discovering that you were treated not for your health but for someone's financial gain is a betrayal that cuts deep. The emotional and physical toll on patients could be devastating. But the drama doesn't stop there. Enter the American Transit Insurance Company, ATIC, the plaintiff in this case.
People that always do the pointing, and it always comes back to them, all right? So when you said this is the largest RICO case ever filed in the state of New York, you guys wrap that around your brain. That's bigger than the mafia case. Like the mafia one was number one. This one takes it over. So he was scamming insurance companies from taxi drivers, Uber drivers, and Lyft drivers. He was performing unnecessary surgeries and then providing fraudulent medical services in exchange of.
They claim they've been cheated out of millions, alleging They were billed for surgeries that either didn't happen or weren't needed. To paint a picture, it's like paying for a high-quality steak and receiving a plate of tasteless tofu instead. However, insurance companies aren't exactly known for being saints in these situations. Over the years, they've faced accusations of underpaying doctors, denying valid claims, and exploiting every loophole imaginable to avoid fulfilling their obligations. This raises an important question. Is ADDIC genuinely exposing a massive healthcare scam, or are they using this lawsuit to deflect attention from their own financial troubles? Could this even be a desperate attempt to claw back money as the company struggles to stay afloat?
Loving it.
I saw you on The View.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's been overwhelming my past couple days. So I just went in there, did my thing. I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know who Sunny Hostin was. I actually still really don't know. So I wasn't expecting necessarily for her to kind of try to ambush me in that way and attack my character in that way.
Well, it is the show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
They get so much hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean,
Yeah.
it is a rabies infested henhouse.
The case has all the elements of a gripping legal thriller. On one side, we have the doctors and medical practices accused of fraud. On the other, an insurance company with its own reputation to consider. And caught in the middle are patients who trusted their healthcare providers to do what was best for them. The stakes are incredibly high, not just for the individuals involved, but for the broader healthcare system. Cases like this undermine trust in doctors and fuel skepticism toward insurance companies, making it even harder for people to navigate an already complex system. As the lawsuit unfolds, questions continue to swirl. Were these surgeries genuinely unnecessary? Did the accused doctors knowingly participate in a fraudulent scheme? Or is this case being blown out of proportion? And what about the patients?
Her husband accused of committing federal insurance fraud in a lawsuit. Okay. Now let's read this. Rob, is this a video?
Well, I have this. I'll show you this about.
Let me just read this and I'll come to you. So, Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and husband of The View co-host Sunny Hostin, is accused in December lawsuit fraudulently billing insurance. By the way, this is a Daily Caller story I'm reading. The lawsuit alleges Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation, and names him among nearly 200 defendants in one of New York's largest RICO cases. Wow. Hostin's attorney, Daniel Twites, denies the allegations, calling the lawsuit a meritless attempt by a near-bankrupt insurance carrier to intimidate doctors and restrict healthcare benefits. The case involves claims that Hostin performs unnecessary surgeries on patients after minor accidents without exploring less invasive treatments, with American Transit citing New York's 1974 no-fault law as contributing to widespread.
How will they be compensated if it's proven they were subjected to unnecessary surgeries? Dr. Hostin's reputation, as well as that of his practice, is now under intense scrutiny. Regardless of the outcome, the publicity surrounding this case will have lasting effects. For Sunny Hostin, the situation is equally challenging. As a high-profile public figure, her personal life is being thrust into the limelight in ways she likely never anticipated. This isn't just a story about one doctor or one lawsuit. It's a reflection of deeper issues in the healthcare system. Fraud, exploitation, and mistrust are problems that need addressing, and this case could set a precedent for how such matters are handled in the future. The lawsuit is still in its early stages, so there's a lot we don't know yet. But one thing is clear. This isn't going away anytime soon. The courtroom drama promises to be intense, with twists and turns that could rival any Hollywood script. Will justice be served, or will this case expose even more hidden flaws in the system? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure. This is a story worth following. Dr. Hostin's lawyer, Daniel Thwaites, isn't holding back in defending his client. He described the lawsuit against Dr. Hostin as a desperate and baseless attempt by the company ADC to recover their financial losses. Thwaites called it a last-ditch effort by a business struggling to stay afloat, turning the spotlight on ADC and portraying them as the true villains in this case. It's a classic legal move, shift the blame to the accuser, and it's adding even more fuel to the fire of this heated legal battle. But things get even more intense when Joe Rogan enters the conversation. Known for his bold and unfiltered commentary, Rogan didn't mince words. On his podcast, he criticized The View, calling out what he saw as hypocrisy. He reminded everyone that Sunny Hostin, co-host of The View, has often criticized others while possibly being aware of her husband's questionable activities. Rogan didn't stop there. He took a jab at the show, saying that if you averaged out the intelligence of the hosts, it might not even hit triple digits. The comment was harsh, no doubt, but his audience ate it up, cheering him on as he roasted the popular talk show. While all this unfolds, Dr. Hostin is busy trying to clear his name in court. Meanwhile, Sunny Hostin, usually outspoken and opinionated on controversial matters, has remained unusually quiet about her husband's situation. It's a noticeable change in behavior for someone who's known for addressing drama head-on. Her silence has sparked plenty of speculation.